The program you are about to listen to contains graphic scenes of stupidity. Sam Foltz and Zachary Schoensiegel. You have been warned.
Welcome to the We Don't Know What This Is podcast.
I'm Zachary Schoensiegel.
And I'm Sam Foltz.
How you doing, Sam?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Hopefully Baja blasting soon.
Yeah.
So who do we have?
Today we have a very special guest, Mrs. Grace Scott. Say hello.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
I'm so excited to be here today.
Oh, I'm happy.
I'm happy that somebody's excited to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's 2 for 2, Mr.
Yeah.
Beaver and you. That's about it. So today we have a handful of topics that we want to tackle.
Do we?
Sure. But first off, I would just like to start. You are the lead singer and, I guess, front person to a certain band. That is the Grace Scott Band. Could you tell us a little about that?
Well, thanks for asking, Sam. And I'm super honored to follow Mr. Beaver, by the way. I just have to give a shout out. Mr. Beaver is so funny and so smart. So it's an honor to follow after him. Grace Scott Band, yes. We are getting ready to start our 5th touring summer of the band, which is a pretty long life for what started as a barn band, because our first rehearsal was in our barn.
Yeehaw.
Seems pretty fitting for a farmer's wife.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. And you guys just released a new album or an LP?
EP.
EP.
Yes.
What's
E-I-E-I-O. I don't
LP?
even know.
What's an LP?
I don't know. Long play?
Hold on, give me a second. While you guys are talking,
There
I'm
is
gonna
a
look it up.
difference between EP and LP.
Extended play, long play. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like-
So yes, the release of Flowers was April 30th, and we're very excited to have a new release of music. And I worked on the recording process through this winter. Whenever we had days off from school, I would jump in my little car and drive down to Columbus, Indiana, to the studio of the
Wow.
producer I was working with.
Nice. Sam,
Yes.
what did you find?
An EP is just, I think an LP is like a collection of long songs. An EP is just a little collection, and then an album is like full feature length.
It's called an album.
Yeah,
Yeah.
an album is an album.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. So you are a teacher here at LHS. Not unlike Mr. Beaver.
That is
What
true.
is it like working in this building?
Well, at first, I'm your teacher, Sam, so
Yeah.
that's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And Zach was my student a few years back as well.
Mm-hmm.
I love teaching at Logansport High School. I think there are so many incredible opportunities available to the students through the early college program, through the dual credit program, through the AP program. And I'm blessed to be part of the AP and early college program. My students are incredible. They inspire me daily. I'm not going to lie, the last few years have been incredibly challenging for everyone,
Right.
top to bottom,
Yeah.
students, teachers, administration.
Yeah.
But I'm proud to be a Logansport Bear.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of being like challenged and AP stuff, I took my AP exam for physics today. That was interesting.
When do you get the results back from?
Like July or something. I think I signed something that I'm not allowed to talk about it, but
Early July is when the results
Yeah.
will come in.
Well, I mean, you're not going to like disclose any information.
right. It was
Zach?
just kind of difficult because, Mr. Beaver's a great teacher, but, there's no way that you can really prepare your students for a standardized test like that.
I hate standardized testing, which we talked about with
Which
Mr.
we did,
Beaver.
yes.
But that's aside the point because you teach AP, so I'm gonna. I mean, I guess what's your opinion on AP tests?
I think that the AP test and the AP course, it's designed to be the equivalent of a collegiate level course. And whether a student achieves that college level, score at the end, you're graded with a number 1 to 5. And whether they achieve that score or not, I think that they need to be very proud of the work they've put in to complete a collegiate level class
Right.
while they're in high school. The preparation and work level is there if they intend to study on a higher level. Of course, the goal is to get that college credit for the students and also, to help them on their way to the college of their choice.
Yeah. Well, Sam, you still alive over there? My
Yeah,
gosh.
I'm just
drinking
I'm just
crap, all this.
Well, I'm just saying because you're carrying the conversation today, which is new. Normally,
Yeah, I know. I'm kind of nervous about that. Come on, Sam.
You are a Purdue, or I guess once a
Did you go to
Boilermaker,
Purdue?
always a Boilermaker.
I am a very proud alum of Purdue University.
Nice.
Thanks for noticing that, Sam.
Yeah, I totally could not tell.
Zach, is that where you're planning to attend?
I'm going to Purdue for audio engineering.
Boiler up.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
all
I'm
have such,
very
like,
excited.
Huge plans in life. I want to go to IUK because it's cheap, affordable, and close to home. I get credit. So.
Right. Yeah.
We just took an amazing field trip to IUK last week, Sam.
Yeah, I spotted Eli Bolt's sister and she ignored me.
Oh,
That's
well.
a stab at you, Eli.
Hey, I don't think Eli needs any more stabs at him because
Yeah, that's true.
certain circumstances.
Zach,
You
what
like
do
getting
you
impaled?
hope to do with that
I'm sorry.
audio engineering degree? What are your dreams and
I
hopes for
have
that?
no idea. I'm just going to try and get into the industry and see kind of where that takes me because, in the industry, you get somewhere, you just see an opportunity and you fit yourself in. And if you can, you can.
Absolutely. I cannot wait to hear about your adventures.
Yeah.
I have several friends that have studied audio engineering and they worked on cruise ships and they've worked with a lot of really famous stars now, like at Dollywood.
Oh, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and different places in Nashville. So it's so fun to hear their stories and you're young and the
Yeah.
world is your oyster.
Yep.
It's exciting to see what happens.
I'm very
You are the
excited.
pearl, Zach.
Wow.
That's so crazy.
That's new.
I want to be an English teacher. So.
Hey, you know what?
Hey, you're an English teacher.
Maybe you should talk about that.
What's it like being an English teacher?
It is exciting.
Don't be afraid to be not happy.
Yeah,
with it.
if you want to dog on anything, it's fine. We've only ever had
This is not school sanctioned.
Yeah,
We're
we've
just
only had to delete one episode.
We're just two idiots with a microphone.
Yeah, well, that's
my
what we should have called it. Two idiots with a microphone.
Hey, it's not too late to just change the whole name now.
I mean,
There you
we
go.
could go through rebranding. Or we,
It's too much
it's
work.
too late. All right. Well, anyway, but what is it like being an English teacher?
Well, it is exciting. It is wonderful when I have students like you that say that they hope to be English teachers someday. It makes my heart very proud and very
Can't
happy.
see. I'm nodding right now, but you can't see that if you're listening. I guess you can't watch. Yeah. Okay. Anyway.
It's challenging. It's difficult. It's changed a lot. I graduated from Purdue in 2005, and I feel like I've gone through like so many vast changes in technology. Like when I started my student teaching, we used like an overhead projector with like a transparency.
Nope, you don't get that anymore.
I think those
Sam-
phased out. That would have been my kindergarten.
I was gonna
year.
say you don't even know what those are. do you?
I do.
We used them we used them during kindergarten, and we would like do little fun activities. And then next year we used Promethean boards. So
See,
I'm not that old.
I went to Pioneer. We were behind the times a little bit, I think, but I was kind of in a '90s school basically. I was, brought up as though it was still in the '90s, and you don't have all the technology and everything. We didn't get, like, smart boards stuff like that till I think 4th grade, and then we got iPads, and then kind of spiraled
The
into how it is
computers
now.
that they use, like the high schoolers, are like they're like bumper cars. They're like there's so much rubber around them. They weigh like 50 pounds, but like 48 of that is the rubber.
That's great.
Yeah, when I first started, I remember we would have to like sign up for computer lab time, to type an essay or to print something off. And then I remember being really, really happy when I took over the yearbook and I had desktop computers in my classroom so my students could use the computer, anytime they wanted.
That's so strange.
Yeah. My dad, the first time he used a computer was to play Oregon Trail in like the 1st grade. It's like, that was so crazy. And I still don't use computers. I'm like, nice.
Yeah, that's
Oregon
good.
Trail was where it was at. in
I have the
elementary school.
little handheld like game retro thing that
I have
got
my
for
phone.
Christmas.
It probably does that.
Oh, are you
know.
talking about the Apple Play version of it or the
I'm
Apple
sure-
Arcade?
I don't know.
Do you have Arcade?
Yeah. Do I use it? No.
I love Arcade.
You want to get on my plan?
Yes, we'll do that later though.
Okay.
I love Apple Arcade. That's beside the point.
Sam, I think the biggest challenge as an English teacher and something that you will deal with someday is motivation, figuring out how to motivate students. I have to try and be more engaging or exciting or, I'm competing with the Apple Arcade, like you're just talking about. Like it's so easy to escape into those games or, we've been talking about this a little bit in class, passivity, just
Yeah.
consuming something rather than engaging. And I think the last few years have made us even more passive as learners and students, as an adult too, right? Like we spent months like basically locked in our houses doing nothing but watching Netflix. And so we have to think about, how do we bridge that gap? How do we get people excited about learning and interacting with one another again?
Yeah, I feel like I'm either going to be like some fun English teacher or super boring, because like my literature choice is so like niche.
Like how do you make students like actually do work? Because I, in my brain, I don't really want to do work, but something makes me have to do it. Either it's just because of my grade, or if it's just because I don't want to, disappoint somebody that I've really connected with over the course of the year.
And that's the key word, connection.
Yeah.
If you can form that connection and bond, and then, the student says like, oh, I don't want to let Mr. Sam down.
What should I? Well, I'm gonna have to go by some super sophisticated name.
Mr. Foltz.
Mr. Foltz.
Well, is that sophisticated? I mean,
You could get your doctorate, be Dr. Foltz.
oh, that would be so cool.
But that's a lot of work.
I plan to get my master's. Maybe.
Well,
my
that's not enough.
PhD, but-
I mean, you could just call yourself a doctor.
I am Dr. Phil.
Sam, you said your literature taste is very niche. So
Yeah.
tell us
well,
about that.
I'm in like philosophical books and kind of things that like tackle like Orwell, and then you have like Lord of the Flies. That kind of stuff is like more of my interest. It's either that or like realistic fiction. It's like two complete opposite ends of the spectrum. I'm not like much into like sci-fi or like romance novels or anything. I'm more into like, I don't know, not like Twilight. Like that's a no-go.
It's been fun. I guess I'm looking a retrospect on my teaching years, and when early in my teaching career was when like Twilight, Hunger Games, Harry Potter, all of that was like massively popular.
Yeah.
And then this has been that year that it's cycling back through. A lot of kids y'all's age haven't read those books, and they're loving them so much. So it's been fun to see those books stand the test of time and come back around.
How do you feel that the library's not open yet? What do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
I cannot wait for it to be open soon and
If
to have
it
the Berry
opens.
Bean back up and running. We had one really fun, like a week before the whole school shut down. We had a day where we were having book talks with our little mochas in the library, and it was so fun. And I just had this vision of continuing to have like moments like that for my students.
Yeah, and then school shut down, and they decided to redo the library, and it has been done for the past like 7 years.
Your class was the last class I was in before we went away for COVID.
Has it seriously been that long?
Oh my goodness.
Yours was the last class.
Oh wow, Zach, take me back to that day. Tell
So
me, like,
we
what
were
was, like,
very
in your mind
confused.
and what did we talk about? And
We were like, okay, so Mr. Jones got on the announcements, and he was like, okay, so something about this COVID deal. It's been 2 years. I don't even know.
yeah.
But like we're gonna go away for like two weeks, and we'll come back. We'll be fine. Just do your normal virtual stuff that you know how to do, and we'll get through it. Whatever. And then it just kept getting delayed. That we wouldn't go back, and then we wouldn't go back, and then we're just stuck there for ages. And doing class online is totally different. Like it's a totally different beast from being in like an actual room, and the motivation's gone. That connection that I was talking about, it's completely like
It's not
masked
fun.
because it's it's just text on a screen instead of actually talking to a person and connecting with them.
yeah, for sure. It was like huge question marks, for all of us. No one knew what we were getting into or where we were going. I know a major struggle I had during that time period, and I'm sure a lot of folks struggle with this. We live in the middle of nowhere, and we could not find a reliable internet company. Like you cannot get internet where we live, like the normal internet.
Right.
And we tried so many different companies.
It's like the Anderson household. Their
Yeah.
internet is so slow that if somebody's watching Netflix and Colby gets on the internet lags. It's
It's like
bad.
dial up out there.
it's like dial up, but like in the Neolithic. It's
That's a $5 word when a 25-cent one would suffice.
He's a future English teacher.
Yeah. Sure.
Geez,
I'm not
hurts
like-
my brain.
at least I don't like. I'm not going to be the type of guy to have a word of the day. It's like, let's talk about this. This isn't first grade phonics.
Right.
I'm sorry if any existing English teachers have that. You should start a word of the day, but not like first grade English.
I liked it when Mrs. Myers had her weird thing. What was that called that she used?
She
weird
has
thing.
little
Like the book thing that
puns
yeah
on the board every day.
and you
that
like
have
had to
solve.
figure it out, and that was very fun. So do that in your future.
Okay. I just feel like the thing about like English
It was
is that
so
like,
descriptive.
on paper English is very boring, but I think like the application and the actual like stuff that goes into it is more fun. Because like when you think English, it's just like I speak it, I read books. That's like, you know, when you're like English, so it's like that's
And it's
it. But
absolutely crazy that somebody that is very fluent in the language, like most Americans are, that you can get a bad grade in English.
Yeah.
Like my parents would say, "How do you have a D in English? You speak it." Like it's just strange.
there's two. I mean, Spanish is like I'm doing meh in at the moment, which I think in English I have a. I don't even. It's not refreshing. Yeah. 'Cause-
Insert crazy
Yeah.
facial expressions.
Oh
from
wait, never
Sam
mind.
right
Sorry,
there.
I have an A minus at the moment.
Too much work.
I have one thing that I need to get in, and then I'll be good.
Sam, you were in junior high when quarantine happened. What was
Yeah.
your experience like?
How is
We were
that
in
different?
Band. It was seventh, or I guess I don't know. Did we go? No, it would have been seventh period.
Yeah,
we
because
didn't-
you were my 7th period class.
we were in seventh period and we were in band, and we were like, okay, we were playing, and then we were put all of our instruments away like prematurely or whatever, because they're like, okay, well we just got an email sent out, and so like everybody just put your stuff away, sit down. There's like a thing that's gonna happen, and then we got like papers that we would take home to our parents, and then Kennedy or whoever came up with the announcements was talking about. It's like, okay, so the COVID-19 virus, talking about like in Kokomo, which when you're in 8th grade, because you don't understand the implications of like, you know, a worldwide extremely deadly virus, you're like, oh, I get 2 weeks off of school, I'm gonna sleep in.
right. That was
Like,
my
you
first
know,
reaction.
I'm gonna go hang out with all of my friends and do whatever I want.
Right.
And as soon as, you know, you get home, your parents are like, COVID-19
Just
is
stay in your house. Don't leave.
Don't leave.
Put,
And
put tape around the doors.
I remember it was like
whole 9 yards.
there was an iHeartRadio living room concert. It was like, I know that sounds really weird, but like
I didn't hear about that.
it was like a thing that they did, and it was like a bunch of different artists got together, and they were like, they would sing songs. This is like, well, we're doing this because everybody's stuck in their houses. I remember I went over to Kelsey's house and we watched it, and we were horrified. My dad was like freaking out about it because he's like, oh my God, you're gonna like die, because everybody's flipping out. And then like looking back on it, I guess, which I mean, I've come to this conclusion, but like talking about it especially, it's like during that time we shut down because people were dying from it. But when you're in 8th grade, you're like, oh, I get to, you know.
Yeah, you don't think that it would actually affect you, because there were like viruses before. I don't even know the names of them, but they just wouldn't come to us just because we're such a
Yeah, we're in the middle of a bunch of cornfields.
Nowhere.
It's not like, you know, we're going to be too heavily affected.
I had that exact same conversation with my exchange student I had in class that year. His name was Lassie, and he was from Finland. And when we came back from school after Christmas break in January, this was the first time I'd heard of COVID, right? So I was sitting there like working on something for class. I think it was, and Lassie said, "Hey, Mrs. Scott, have you heard about this virus from China?" And I can't do like a Finnish accent either, so I'm not
Right.
even gonna try. I was really bad. Sam, sorry. Anyway, he just kept kind of harassing me about, you know, what
Yeah.
was happening in China. And every time, you know, this went on for months, right? And I would be, Lassie, we live in the middle of cornfields. Like you just said, like nothing
Yeah.
ever happens in Indiana. Like maybe it'll come to New York, but like we're
We're the
good.
most
We're
boring
solid
state.
gold here. You'll be fine. And then with each like passing week, things got worse. And then he had to go home, back to Finland. And so that was just crazy.
I actually heard about COVID first on. I listened to a different podcast. I'm sorry, Sam. It's called Tidbits with Dale Lau and Matthew Paul. They do it on the radio every morning.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been on it a few times.
I think I have. Yes.
Yeah, and they do their tidbits, and they were like talking about this strange virus happening in China. And I'm like, you know, whenever they say stuff on there, I'm like, you know, it's not ever gonna get here or whatever. And my gosh, Sam, you're still drinking that Dr. Pepper. Anyways,
Have for a good drink for a hot summer's day. All right, anyway, continue.
I don't think it's going to come, because it's just like, you know, far out tidbits, and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just one of those things. And then it started getting closer and closer, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is something that we actually need to look at. And then we got quarantined at school. And all that.
Yeah. Then we were taping off our doors and washing our oranges.
Yeah,
Because
that's
we
it.
did that for like 3 months.
I'm
washed
just
all our produce.
I'm just happy that everything's like, like the numbers have dropped. I mean, it's become what, an endemic, I think.
Yes.
So it's like, I mean, it's like the
Cold
flu,
season.
like smallpox, I guess polio, if you want to think about it that way. I mean, polio is a vaccine, but up until it didn't, it was just like something that people lived with. So I'm thinking that COVID is just like. Also, I had a thing because everybody like around school is like been having like allergies, losing their voices and sinuses and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I wonder if that's something.
I think it's just allergies because I mean it is and I know that people are like, oh well, COVID, but that's allergy season.
we've
still.
now been programmed to just think COVID first.
Yeah, which is that's tragic because
Speaking of that, every time Mr. Jones makes an announcement at school, like say we're in the middle of fourth period,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden there's like an interruption, like
Yeah.
you hear it on the buzzer. Like I immediately my heart just drops to the pit of my stomach. I think because of just everything that's happened in the last few years when we had like the intruder that was on the campus. You know,
Oh, yeah,
like
that
just,
was-
we've had
luckily,
some different things happen in the last
I wasn't
few
actually
school years.
here that day, which was very lucky for me.
we
So
played.
I didn't actually get to experience that.
We were chilling out in a room and we played Heads Up silently because it's because
that's
it's
nice.
it's charades. So we were all just in this little corner tucked away. If you don't know what we're talking about out there, audience, some dude committed
He was doing a hostage situation.
yeah, and then he somehow escaped, drove.
There's a road behind
There's-
some woods next to the school.
Yeah, and then he found his way into said woods, and everybody's like,
Did he?
he got into the berry patch. And people were like, okay, lock, stay in play, whatever the protocol is, I don't remember. And then so everybody had to hide in their classroom for like 3 hours, and then we're like, all right, back to normal. And then,
I was so stupid that day because I actually went and drove over there. I was like,
nice.
Oh, Zach.
What a horrible. Why were you not at school?
I heard of. I think I had like an appointment or something, and I was like, I'm hearing something about this. So I went and drove over there where there were like police cars lined on the sides.
Your mom's going to listen to this episode and be like, Zachary.
No, she knew about it. She's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I would also.
Kind of like when you go out on your front porch when there's a tornado outside.
Yeah,
That is a
that's-
Midwestern thing
It's
to
kind
do.
of the same
Yeah.
thing, but
Let's go chase
kinda,
the storm.
One time, a tornado at my mother's house jumped because we have fields on like in the front of our house because we live out by the airport, the Logansport Cass County Airport. Yeah, there's some nice jets because you can hear them at like 3 a.m. There's like people flying like private jets and stuff. It's just like, who are these people? Like, why are they landing out here? But that's
Colts football players.
It's Liam's
I guess
dad.
yeah, maybe. I heard that they have a cult. That not saying that they do. I just heard that they do. I don't know if that's true or not. I only work in a grocery store. Anyway, but there's a field in front of our house and a field behind our house. And one time, apparently, like because my parents weren't home and I wasn't home, but our neighbor was like, "Yeah, it touched down in front of the house because we have neighbors to either side of us." And then so the tornado jumped over our house, landed in the field behind us,
Oh, that's
and
very
just
fortunate.
skipped over our house. So
Wait,
it's like
the other
What?
house,
no, it skipped over our house.
like the other house that I took you home to. 'Cause
The one out in the middle of like
yeah, the one
no
that's
man's
not
land?
in town.
Yes, that one.
That would make sense.
Yes.
You are Samuel Fortunate Clyde Fultz.
Well, I wasn't home.
Sammy CF, Peyton Mucker, and Sammy CF.
Sammy HCF.
H-
Wait, no,
uh,
hold on.
I don't even know.
Wait, what did
Too
you
many
say?
acronyms.
Samuel Fortunate Clyde Fultz.
Sammy FCF. There we go.
Sammy FCF.
Yeah, people are gonna wonder what
I
that is.
call him Samuel Clyde quite a bit.
Yeah, then my
in
mom
class.
calls me. She never calls me Sam. It's always Samuel. Like she's like, well, that's her name. So every time I always put like for like SNL because I said Sammy CF, that was different. But like for like if like I write Sam, she'll be like, but your name is Samuel. Like on all playbills, my name is Sam. Most people don't even know my full name is Samuel. They're just like, your name's just Sam. I'm like, no, it's Samuel. And they're like,
Yeah.
what's your middle name? And I was just like, it's Clyde. And they think it's funny. But I'm named after my great grandpa, who was actually awesome. I'm not even going to delve into that.
Okay.
But
Too much.
he's a World War II veteran, so.
That's incredible.
Nice.
What a great legacy.
Yeah, that's and then my aunt from a very young age was like, you're the last person to carry on the Fultz name, don't let me down. I'm just like, okay. I'm like 7 years old.
The weight
Get
of
a-
expectation.
Get a gold
Exactly.
star on your spelling tests.
Yep, get good scores and get a job.
If you
At 8.
go into the acting field or publish writing someday,
Oh,
which I can see both of those things happening.
yeah. I mean, as much as I'd like to be an actor, I don't think that I necessarily I don't think I necessarily have like the not necessarily the capabilities, but like the there's other people who are like a little up there. But at the same time, I think it's more of a fun hobby rather than a career for me because it's like I enjoy doing it, but at the same time it can get stressful, which I feel like that's
You
for
don't
any
give
career.
yourself enough credit on how good you can sing, actually. Because I went back and I watched Joseph, and you have it's just
the one
great.
singing line.
I don't care.
One
I
singing
don't
line.
care. And other productions that I may or may not have on my Google Drive. If you want it, let me know.
Sam, you may not know this. Well, I need to back up because what I was going to say is your stage name could be Samuel Clyde. Like I could see that.
Yeah,
Like,
I can
That's
see
my
that.
name.
Samuel Clyde.
Hello.
Like starring on SNL.
Yeah, that would be cool. My uncle compares me to Chris Farley, minus all the drug abuse.
That's good. That's good.
Oh.
We get to spend the summer together. Did you know that, Sam?
What?
Yes. So my little girl is signed up to be part of the summer production.
Oh,
of-
Beauty and the Beast.
Oh.
Hey, I'll be there too, doing the thing. With
Yay!
the thing.
I am Monsieur Dark. He's in a song, and that's about it.
Yep.
So
I have to be a stage mom.
nice.
Like literally, it was like in the paperwork. I have to be like a backstage mom one night.
You're gonna love it.
Yay!
Yep. You get to work with the fabulous Mikhail Techies. Oh, the shift crew and the stage management.
I
and
doubt this. Oh, actually, no. I
I will
guess
try and bake y'all some brownies. Would that be?
nobody's
Welcome.
ever done anything like that for us.
If you come
nobody
in-
does anything for us. We're just like,
Aw.
yeah, here you go.
Wow.
You're doing the production. Come this time and don't be late.
Signed, sealed, delivered. It's happening today.
you get
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
You're
you get paid and brownies
appreciate it.
now. Wow. I guess you guys get paid for that, don't you?
Yes. Maybe.
Well, yeah, because it's not a school sanctioned event.
Yeah, but we'll see.
I hope so.
Yeah.
we'll
All
see.
right. How are we doing on time?
We're at 27 minutes. Keep talking, Sam.
27
People hate it when
minutes.
you ask me that.
No, I'm just wanting to know so we don't overshoot or undershoot.
Well, I'll let you know. I'll
Well,
be like,
since
yeah.
you told me I could do this, I will shamelessly plug Flowers.
Oh yes.
For anyone that's listening to the podcast, please go and stream it and download it. It
Okay.
is on all streaming platforms. Have you listened to it, Sam?
Yes.
Zach, have you listened?
what?
Go download it on your streaming company
yes.
of choice.
Streaming service
Well, in a
platform.
minute.
Yes.
After I'm
Hold on.
done
give me a second.
podcast.
Yes,
'Cause my
yes.
phone's a little bit
This is-
tied up
This is
podcasting.
my big plug for Flowers. We're really proud of it, and
Okay.
we have a new single coming out June 10th as well. So
You
there'll be
just-
more.
You guys stay
more
busy.
music.
Going at it.
Yes, sir.
Wait, hold on. What am I looking for? Found it.
President's Day, MLK Day, knocked him out. Then
So I hear that the English department really likes listening to our podcast. I know Mrs. Minks listens to it. I
Mrs.
know
Myers listens to
Mrs.
it.
Myers
she
listens
came up
to
to me
it.
in the hallway, and now she knows my name. So that's pretty cool. Hi, Mrs. Myers.
I think
you should
Mrs.
have them
Kranz
on
listens to it.
as guests next.
We should just get each wing. We should just wing at a time. Just like, all right, all of you show up
I
at
mean, we
this
have
time.
done the science wing. We've done the English wing now, basically.
Yeah, well, now we just need what? History and
Get Mr. Looker on here.
Mr. Looker. I don't have Mr. Looker, but I'll do it.
I did. He likes me.
Mr. Lucker would be amazing. You should have him on. And you need somebody from the math department. Too.
Yeah, we'll get somebody. We'll
We
see.
should get Mrs. Groff before she retires.
Hey, you know what? A farewell episode
to
for
Mrs. Groff. And that'll be our special
That'll be our
season
Finale?
finale.
season finale.
As she's retiring her
Sure.
career, we're retiring season 1. But that's aside the point. We're not talking about that right now. But anyway,
We still got some time.
okay, just clarifying.
Zach, what are you going to be doing this summer? Because Sam and I talked about our summer plans.
Oh, working at the fairgrounds like
I'll
I do.
be with you this summer too.
You'll see me over there. I
Fair
was just-
week.
Oh my gosh.
Did they ever
Yeah.
did they do the finish the thing?
Yeah, I just had a goat show this weekend that we had sound for. That was long.
People don't realize that sound is an integral part of livestock shows.
Oh yeah.
So important.
And it was so much easier to hear stuff this time because I don't know if you've been out there yet, but we've completely revamped the sound system in the exhibition building. So
Yeah, the
it's
giant pole that was like 50 feet in the air with all like 100 pounds of speaker on it.
well, it was the truss up in the air that was like it was
Yeah,
real
it was like
bad.
Oh, it
Boeing.
was Boeing.
Oh yeah,
my.
it was not good. Anywho,
Yeah.
I think that's the end of this episode.
Yeah, I think that about does it. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, you guys.
This pleasure is ours.
Owl.
But anyway,
There's an owl in my
that
living room.
concludes episode 14 of the We
it
Don't
might be.
14 insert number here of the We Don't Know What This Is podcast. I am your host Sam Foltz,
And I'm Zachary Schoen-Siegel.
and we're here with Mrs. Scott. Say hello,
Hi, thanks for being with us.
and now say goodbye.
Bye, y'all.
Where's the button? Actually, I have no idea where the button is. Help.